the bolts on the Maytag carburetor. These four right here are red brass, and these four here are yellow brass. I polished them up. Just use this red rouge. It comes in different colors. It's a different grit for what color it is. I normally on brass just use the brown, which is it's a decent grit. You can get the great big old gigantic brick at the truck stop, industrial side. When you are buffing these parts, and I do buff on a 6-inch beach grinder felt pad, you can see the different colors are for different grits, and they come in different diameters. Just use what your bench grinder uses. And this is not, do not do this if you are restoring a Maytag 92. They did not buff their parts at the factory. So if you are restoring an engine, do not shine your parts up. This is definitely not a restored engine. I did buff up the pointer, and I will set this when I put on the carburetor. Even if you're just fixing one up, go to the trouble to get unplated washers. This is a lock washer in this instance. They did have one. This being the pointer, do not buff the pointer. That's the easiest way to ruin a needle valve, is to buff that pointer indiscriminately. You can buff it if you do it correctly. Do not buff the threads, or you will round them off. When you this pointer, it's a good change to show you the inside of this. It has the imprint of the hex nut, and when you put this in the engine and you adjust it to where it's supposed to be, and then you are installing this pointer at that point, then you would line that up to where the little indent matches the nut. That's the way you do that. This is the way most all of them will look. This is one of the better ones that you will find. Most of them are bent, parts missing. If you file away, these were made in a punch press. If you file away these serrations around the edge of this, or buff them away, as you can see there, I did leave them just a light imprint there. If you were restoring this engine, you would put them serrations back on there, and you would take this shine off in a restored engine. As you can see, most of them were quite rough around the edges. These were production engines now, keep that in mind. Occasionally you will find on the older models that this pointer had a slight cutaway right here. It wasn't straight on this side. I believe it's the older model that had that little indent. I do not know the reason why, but you will find that. Maytag used a red brass and also yellow brass for their carburetor mounting screw. These two right here that I'm showing you, I have put them in the mill over there and ran an end mill through the slot there, and then I took a file and removed the burrs that was there from the past. I'm going to polish up both of these and show you the different composition. And if you're putting these engines together out of parts, you want to save these up until you have a set of 4 of each one. It's readily evident if you mix the two together. But we're going to polish them up, and I'll show you what we got. A little compound on yonder. We're going to do the yellow brass first. Put it in the drill chuck. Tighten it up lightly. This one's tarnished a little bit more than the other one, so it may take just a little bit extra. Be careful when you are buffing that you don't round off the edges where an edge should be sharp. It's really easy to do on some of this soft brass. And on the last pass, when you go around, you want to kind of go lightly and put that sheen on there. But as you can see, that's the yellow brass. Okay, I've got the red brass in the drill chuck, and this does generate some heat, and the drill chuck you don't burn your fingers, but it's almost instantly readily apparent of the different colors. Red brass and yellow brass is quite easily to distinguish from each other. Both will take on a very, very high luster. As you can see, the two different colors, red brass and yellow brass, Maytag used both. Both of them are beautiful in they'll stand on their own, let's put it that way. I'm going to put I have a full set of each one that I'm going to put on two different engines. Whatever kind of polishing compound that I find at the local flea market, yard sale is what I use. Nothing in particular. It's the red rouge type. And I do use a drill chuck, and I put the bolt in there to leave it sticking out just a little bit. And then to get the job done, you can see this one is tarnished. If you were rebuilding an engine, you would not do this. Maytag did not polish any parts. It's an assembly line operation. You got to put that Maytag engine together. He didn't see that thing. I mean, his main objective was quitting time. But as you can see, the shine on that brass bolt is quite evident. It's just that easy. And then to set it free, just unloosen your chuck, insert the next one, leave it out just a little bit, tighten it up just lightly, and proceed to polish all four bolts. Some of these parts are tarnished quite badly. Those would require a coarser grit compound on the initial polishing, progressing to a finer grit. Even your local discount store has a assortment of polishing compounds readily available, and this is just a 6-inch cotton buff, and they do wear out. You will have to replace it. That's polishing 101.